It's good to know these things because you can, you can think maybe I don't need X if I know it's going to affect the final piece price that I'm really trying to, whittle down.
Yeah, and these are, again, the top 5 here with, the geometric complexity, dimensional tolerances, can it be as cast? Can we actually hold those tolerances, or do they need to be a secondary machine? Surface finish and the aesthetics. It seems like everything's getting tighter and tighter. Everybody wants a part that not only performs but looks good. And that's a direction I think we're all seeing in all different areas of foundry work and different industries and different, like you mentioned earlier, alloys. And then again, the quality requirements. What do we need to meet? Is this a certain industry that's got certain specs? Certification of those specs, and then also qualifying the materials. Does the materials come in certified? Is the heat treat certified? Those type of things.
Right.
And then, you got packaging is 5. It's no good if it doesn't get there. If it doesn't get there in good shape, you can do all the above and show up and it's a fail. So these 5 are actually the top 5 for us also.
So you had done a previous webinar on the 10 things to look out for when designing a permanent mold casting. Is there any one specific that you could pick out that really, coincides with the 10 casting cost considerations?
The one thing is just to know what you need up front and know what you know and know what you don't know. Okay, so we could pick out one individual thing, but if the engineer or the designer can just get whether it's us or another foundry involved as early up front as they can, a lot of the problems can be addressed, and that includes the cost. You don't want to get to the end of the day and all of a sudden the tolerance is too tight and it can't be cast, and you got to throw a machining operation in, or you've got to throw some polishing into an area that you thought was a B or C surface, and in actuality it's right in front of the customer's face. So getting the requirements up front to whichever foundry, whichever process you're using, I think is key to 100% of the casting cost considerations.
Also think about, your the secondary operations. So if you can have the machining people perhaps talk to, foundry if you're not in the same spot, because
Right.
there's things that you can do as the casting side of things to make the machining easier or less extensive.
Absolutely. How do you hold it? Where are you picking up the datums? Those things need to be determined up front before you start making parts. And absolutely, the machine shop, wherever it is, needs to be pulled in, as well as if it's powder coated or painted, or if there's some assembly. All those folks, as early as you can get them involved, you're going to save that. It's worth its weight as far as the casting cost, but also just the lead time. It really shortens things up.
A question was asked about post-casting assembly. Will a foundry consider final assembly beyond casting prior to packaging? So when a customer comes in with a project, is it often seen that a foundry will work with that customer to really understand the final assembly that product's going into prior to packaging, so that they can receive it in ready to assemble, ready to get their unit out into the market?
For sure. Our experience is that, where does that assembly come in? Does it get assembled at the foundry? Is that possible? Can it be assembled or partially assembled in the machine shop? Or is the assembly done after maybe a powder coat or paint operation? So, where does it make the most sense? The other thing is that we talked about cost. If you're moving parts around a lot, if you're packaging them up, getting them from one facility to the other facility, that doesn't seem to be that cost effective. So taking those things into consideration, I think foundries will for sure look at what can they do, what can they capture in-house to add value and to solve problems for their customers. So yeah, it's a good question.
Do all foundries do that?
I think they all will look at it. I think some of the foundries are more set up for it. There are production foundries that all they want to do is make a casting, and that's what they're really good at, and they don't want to stray from that. And there's other foundries that are a little more versatile. So that's a great question. I think that it comes down to the individual part, the individual foundry for sure.